We're going to replace the temp probe on the 500 pressure fryer. What we're going to need for this job is we need a Phillips screwdriver. We need a 1/2 inch open end wrench, or what we're going to use is a 1/2 inch crow's foot. You can use either or. I got my pipe thread sealant, or you can use a Teflon tape. And I have my new temperature probe. And this has a probe gauge. If you don't have the kit for the temperature probe, you'll need a tape measure to measure the depth of the probe as it inserts into the fry pot. The first thing we need to do is first drop your oil down to the drain pan. Let your fry pot cool off so you're not going to get burned when working in the pot. The second thing we're going to do is make sure we have no power to the fryer. Make sure it's unplugged from the wall. That way there's no risk of any electrical shock. I'm going to drop down our control board. And that's Phillips head screwdriver. We got 4 screws on some controls. Other controls will have 2 screws. I'm going to take out these 4 screws. I'm going to drop my control board. Once I have my 4 screws out, then I can take my control board. There's a small lip on the bottom on some controls, and you can catch that lip in between the frame and the stainless steel in front and kind of let it rest. Now I look for my temperature probe that's damaged. I'm going to disconnect it from my control board. That's its 2-wire connector, the small beige wires. And up here at my temperature probe, where it connects to the pot walls right here, and I'm going to use my 1/2 inch crow's foot on a ratchet here just to unscrew 2 fittings on this. Loosen the compression fitting first. Then there's a nut behind that I can take loose. So I got that loose. I can pull the probe through the fry pot wall. Take out our old probe and we'll discard that. I have the kit here for our new temperature probe. I'm going to open that up. It's going to have an instruction sheet, our 3-inch RTD probe, here's our instruction sheet, our compression fitting, and then we also have a depth gauge inside. So then I take my compression fitting. There's a kind of our compression nut that goes on this fitting. It's got some pieces here. You just want to make sure that these stay together. And this nut just loosely screws on here. You don't want to tighten it down all the way yet. We take this end on the top, and we're going to screw, kind of tighten this little nut in the center of this fitting. We're going to apply our pipe thread sealant, just a little bit. Little dab there. That's going to spread out as we screw this into the fry pot wall. So I start this by hand. Get that finger tight. Then we're going to use our 1/2 inch wrench, and in this case I got the 1/2 inch crow's foot. My 1/2 inch crow's foot just on that inside nut, and then I'm going to simply just tighten this. And we want to go snug. Doesn't have to be extremely tight, but we want to make sure we're not going to leak, so just use a good mechanical sense on there. Snug that up. Then we take our 3-inch probe, uncoil that, and that's just going to insert, since our compression fitting is loose, we're going to insert that into the fryer, and then we use our depth gauge, which is set to 7/8 of an inch from the fry pot wall. Use our depth gauge to make sure we insert the probe to the proper depth. We take our depth gauge, we fit it so it fits on the fry pot wall, and then we insert our probe till it bottoms out on the depth gauge right here. Then from the other side, I'm going to tighten my compression fitting. And you want to go finger tight. And just real gently. You don't want to over compress our temp probe there. Then our temp probe plugs back into the board. Then we can put our board back on. Alternatively, we can use a tape measure and extend our probe 7/8 of an inch out from the fry pot wall.